Hey guys, welcome back to the big build. Over 16 build episodes, we're making this. So we're up to the last build episode, and on this one was slightly different. We're going to be working on countryside. Well, the countryside between here and this is actually the final town on the main line. So we're going to move the line up here. We're not going to add the countryside all the way there. Right, add some heights and things like that. Right, second line, so there'll be two lines here. Try and get the arc right, although we have to move this in a sec. Just make sure the heights are right, that's the main thing. And then across we go. So off we go, carry on, up we go. And yes, this is the last line on the main line, or the last station on the main line. However, it's not the last station on the main line session, because the session will continue down another line once that's done. Down to the coast. Now today we'll be working on the countryside up to the canal. And the first thing we do is add a bridge, and I can tell you right now it won't be this one, but we add it in first of all, we have a look and then decide. Now one of the problems with it is the colour. Now everything over there, but in fact on the what will be the new town, which we haven't created yet, will be a red brick, and this is grey. I know I'm being finicky there, but also, if you look at it, it's very difficult to stop the middle pillar adding in. We don't want to fill in the towpath. Now, one of the ideas I've got, which I don't know if we're going to do or not, is continue that canal all the way up to the other town. If we do that, it might be possible to add a canal boat stroke train on. So there has to be some details on there. It doesn't be perfect, but there's some, as you can see, this was an idea I had. We've got to try it, see if it works, but it covers up the towpath again. I'll try this one. We will use this one actually, in this, but not quite here. So I've come to the decision at this point that it's not going to work. This one doesn't work either because, well, it's legs. Right in the water, and then boats can get through. And then if you do that, it might work, but the spans, it just feels wrong. The span just feels too much. This one won't work, it's the wrong colour. The one in the middle there, actually the colour's not too bad. This one's the wrong colour. It's got the red brick at the top, which is nice, but then you've got the stone at the bottom. There's not enough clearance there. That's the problem with that one. This is one track. I think it's actually it's got a third rail system, hasn't it? There, middle rail. But it's only single rail, so we can't do that. I think this is the one we're going to use. Problem again is the span's a bit too big, so we're going to have to make the angle across the water less acute. But I think for what our needs are, this is better. So let's move those out of the way, those bits. So we start off by just literally putting it here. We angle it slightly. And then we connect the tracks up, and then we can move those two splines at either end to there. And if we press the straight button on the track, you notice that, and it straightens up. Then the only thing we have to do after that is just raise the height of this. That's it. Now we don't use that, we use this embankment end here. If you notice, the brick on this is the same, pretty much the same colour. Well, it looks the same colour from this angle to the main bridge. So it works quite nicely. Now the gravel on top, the surface colour is not quite what I want it to be. We can work on that another time. Now, scenery wise, we're only going up that side right now. But I just want to get rid of that kink first. Don't like it. Make sure the track's evenly parted here. Add a bit of paint on. And then we're good to go for the rest of the scenery. Right, so we've got to ground, raise it up a bit. Why we're doing that is just basically hide the end of the board. Add some wheels in the end. We don't want it all to be one, again, so we flatten it there. Then we use this tool just to, the gradient tool, just to sort of edge it down and make it look a bit more natural. I've said this before, if you go from the top, when you're aiming it, the land slightly raises. If you go from the bottom, it lowers. So you can actually end up with some quite natural looking hills. If you go crossways, it sort of evens everything off between the two. I don't show, actually I probably do show this. I think this is non-cut. So it doesn't take too long to do this one. Now we're going to do the backs as well, but don't put too much effort into that. I just don't want it clipping down so much. There we go, so we're lowering it down there. And just how easy it is. It just takes time. If you look at sensitivity, just over 50%, don't use above that. It will do it too fast and too heavy, and it won't look natural. Radius, just keep it up to 100%. See how simple that is? Once you've painted it, it looks fine. So before we're going to paint it though, we're going to add the hedges in. Because what we're going to create is fields. And then we'll paint each individual square field a different colour, and that gives us our field sort of look. When you're creating a field, in the background you can use these really cheap sort of hedges. You don't see them that much. As I've said in previous episodes, what you do is, as you get near, you then supplement them with something better, and also, you see, it doesn't look too bad in the background. We're using the undergrowth quite a lot in this build. I use it all the way across, but then I'm going to cut it off in places, put some hedges. Trying to find the right one. So it's very similar, this hedge. That's it. So the one thing is, as I was saying, is it's very similar. It's very standardized. So you want to break it up, either by just cutting the spline into pieces and having fences in between, or by just mixing up the splines. Don't do everything exactly the same. Now, if you do have a long spline, especially in the background, just use some low poly sort of trees on that head spline. What that will do is, again, just not make it look so similar. The only place you're ever going to see a hedge the exact same height from one end to the other is in a garden where someone's pruned it. This sort of hedge will never be like that. So, you know, the problem is it's a spline and it will look exactly the same. So use the tools at hand and raise it up and down. Don't use it everywhere. There we go, back to the low poly stuff again. This is actually really good poly. You know, I quite like this for the backgrounds. Just can't use it near the wherever you're going to see. Yeah, you may have seen a screenshot I posted the other day. That was there, actually, with the wires above. So yeah, get rid of that bridge. That was that location. So you've got the main line the other side, so we want to add viewing points in for the water. what we created essentially is a valley. So the water is in the middle of the valley, and both sides then is slightly higher. What we're going to do as we go past this further on is on the outside, as we look to the right now, we are going to raise that up even more. I want it quite high by the time we get to the other town. It's a cheat basically on that town, because that allows us not to have so much scenery going on in one of the sides. The town probably pretty much this side of the... No, that's too low poly. That's too low poly. Right, so we've got low poly trees. See what I'm doing? Adding the trees in just to break it up a bit. Some of these get a little bit too close to the track, and I have to then end up changing for the higher poly ones. But for here, for instance, once you get down to ground level and looking across, it works quite nicely. We've got to do the other side yet as well. We haven't done that yet. But compared to the town, this is a piece of cake. You know, this is really simple. How long that took me to do that, and how long it's taken me to a bigger area. This is why on most of the routes you're going to see, they're all in the countryside. Towns are tiny because they take so long to make. Now this is a track type we had a while ago. Now that went all the way down to Newtown originally, but I got rid of it all. It's the wrong colour, a little bit too new. So we'll be removing this track here, and I'll probably be something rusty. I think something rusty along there. You can see I'm trying to find some better trees now. Looking for some elms and some oaks. Yeah, the classic British countryside tree, you know. Now I've put two together. I've tried lower one, but I still don't think it looks right. Maples. Maples everywhere, why not? Now once again, you don't need everything to be animated along this part, because the train's going to be going, well, especially on there, we might be going 80 to 100. Probably not quite at that pace at that part, because we're slowing down for this station. But if you're on the inner two and you're going whizzing through, you really don't need anything. Right, so it's time to paint. So if you don't have many paints, just go to the Downslow station, type in field, and if you can, filter it to paints. Or is it ground textures, what they call it, whatever they call it. It's essentially paint though, isn't it? I know quite a few of them. A lot of these are meant, you can look at the earth in the background, one piece I placed by accident. A lot of them are meant for the European sort of land and not really here. But maybe they're grapes or something, I don't know, some of them, but they work, most of them work reasonably well. And it adds a bit of variety in. No. I like the idea of those ones, but as soon as you zoom round, there's something wrong with the colour there. Now under the hedges afterwards, we will paint it a slightly darker colour, or muddy colour. Again, we don't bother doing that right at the back, but close to the tracks we will. Why do we do that? It's because the crop wouldn't go to that edge anyway, and also underneath there would be just mud. You wouldn't have really grass underneath these hedges. It wouldn't have any light to actually grow any grass underneath the hedges. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what I'm doing here. I'm trying to muddy it up, but it doesn't look too bad when you're looking from there, so it's fine. I leave it. Da, 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 da. Right, so it's really just adding as many different colours on. If you, stop it being uniformed. Right, hedge time. Well, grass time. Heading into the city from here. And this can be a little bit more overgrown, I think. Got to do it from this side because the light on the other side of it is so dark. So I end up having to do it from here so I can keep an eye on what colours I'm actually using. This line, you're going slower on this line because it's a... It's not a fast line, this one, is it? So you probably do need to put a few more details on this one than you do actually on the main line. It's certainly going to be more grassed over than the main line. We'll add some turf effects to the sides as well, which adds to it. I quite like this grass here. Slightly longer grass. Thinner as you go on. I think we're pretty much done. Just grass FX, the turf FX. What's what we call grass FX, really. Can't put too close to the grass, the tracks, because you don't have that much control, and it will just go straight over the tracks, and I don't want that. So a little signalling and stuff like that I'll be doing offline. I've shown you many times. It's quite boring to watch. But that is it for the build episodes. Next episode will be the show and tell. We ride on board and have a look around, and hopefully you guys will like it. So thank you very much for watching. See you next time. Cheers and bye-bye.